We are doing a little webinar today on direct mail that actually works for real estate wholesalers and flippers. So appreciate you guys all joining me on my first time doing a webinar like this. So how's it going to be structured? I have like a little presentation, kind of like an old school PowerPoint that I'm going to be going through for this. And then at the end, we will open it up for questions. And then what I should be able to do on this platform is you guys can either post questions in the chat and we can do it that way, or I think I can actually like buzz you guys into and have you show up on the stream if it makes sense for us to have a question that way. So as we're going through, if you have any additional questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. If I don't see it, I apologize. I'll get back to them as soon as I can. Yeah, otherwise we'll go through the presentation. It should take about 20 minutes. And the key with it is we're going to be going through some of the major tricks and tips that I've learned over the years with direct mail for finding off-market deals. So sound good? Cool. Right on. All right, everybody. So direct mail that actually works for real estate wholesalers and flippers. To start off really quick, in case you guys don't know who I am, maybe you like saw one of my ads on social media, or you got sent here by somebody else. Quick little backstory. I quit my corporate job as an engineer at Boeing in 2018. I didn't really know what I was going to do, so I ended up kind of working in a gym and driving for Uber to make ends meet for a couple of years. I got into real estate mostly because it was in every single like business wealth building book that I read during that period of time. And so, you know, I did what most people do when they don't know what they want their life to look like. I got into real estate, okay? So I liquidated my corporate 401k, started flipping houses in 2018, turned that into a wholesale off-market business in late 2019, and now I've done over 400 off-market deals I guess since early 2020 when we closed our first one. I own a portfolio worth just under $15 million, all of which I've bought direct to seller, and I host the Collecting Keys podcast, and I run a community of investors called Scale. It's a Scale community. That's my shirt there as well. Those are kind of my two main businesses right now. And if you want like the long version, there's obviously a lot of stuff that happened in the middle. You can check out Collecting Keys Friday Focus episode number 108, or I also have a long form discussion episode on YouTube. If you look up Mike_invest on YouTube, you can find that there. You can hear all the ups and downs and challenges that I face going through that and like the actual details of the growth. So a big thing with direct mail. Okay, direct mail has been a source of 84% of all of the deals my company has closed since 2020. I know there's been so many different darling sort of marketing tactics that people have pursued or, you know, really relied on during that time. But for us, it's been direct mail pretty much since day one, since we started. And I have spent over $2 million worth of direct mail since January of 2020. Good little typo right there, right off the bat. Perfect. So I've spent over $2 million on direct mail since January 2020. And so it's needless to say, I'm pretty confident about how to do direct mail marketing, something that we have spent an incredible amount of money learning how to do. And it's something that continues to be like the main anchor for our business. And so why you should be doing direct mail and the big reasons I think everyone should consider it. It's the only inbound marketing method that is 100% targeted. Okay, the other kind of inbound marketing that, you know, where people are calling you first, things like billboards, you know, radio, online ads, that's not really targeted at all. That's kind of you like putting stuff out there and you don't really know who's going to come back. With direct mail, you still get that same sort of setup where people are contacting you first, but you actually know who you've sent it to, right? So you can certify that they are a legit prospect for you. Direct mail is super scalable, right? It's obviously it gets more expensive, but the amount of work that it takes to scale from 5,000 prospects to 50,000 prospects that you're mailing is honestly not that different. Like you can 10x your outreach with like 5% more work, just a bigger list that you're mailing to. Requires more financial resources, obviously, but the work required is very, very simple. Direct mail is super sticky, which is kind of rare for marketing. So, you know, people, you'd be surprised, they keep your letters and postcards. We've gotten a ton of deals where people have like gotten a letter or postcard from us months ago, and then it took them 6 months to call us. They stuck it in a kitchen drawer, they put it on their fridge, whatever. We've even had instances where we mail somebody, they die, and then their next of kin finds the letter like in their kitchen and they call us and we end up buying that house. That doesn't happen with things like online ads, you know, voicemails, you know, texts, things like that. And so there's kind of this like exponential growth of opportunity that comes when you're doing direct mail. It builds your brand and encourages more research on your company. So again, very different from like the more cold outreach stuff that you do. It gives people the ability to do their research on you and decide if they actually want to, work with your company. So the leads are a little bit warmer because of that. And also too, it has zero chance of being outlawed. And it doesn't leave you at the mercy of the algorithms like online stuff does. And what I mean with like that outlawed comment, a lot of you guys have probably known SMS marketing has had a ton of challenges over the last year with the 10 DLC registration stuff. And cold calling, I expect to start facing some more challenges as well, just legally as we go through, this current phase of whatever's going on with all this legislation. But direct mail, I mean, it's not going to go anywhere. And, it's kind of like a base system that just exists in the United States. Okay. So that's all fine. That's why I should be doing it. But what does it really take to use direct mail to skyrocket your deal flow? There's a ton of different ways you can do it wrong. You can definitely waste a lot of money. And the main things that you need to learn how to do comes down to two parts, right? It comes down to your list and your data and your mail sequence. Okay. When it comes to your data, and this isn't going to be like, this is the kind of data you should be pulling, because there's no shortage of list providers that provide all the niche lists, right? Bankruptcy liens, pre-foreclosures, whatever. There's tons of different providers, PropStream, ListSource, Deal Machine, whatever. Newsflash for you guys, most data providers, they get all their data from the same place. Okay, and so we're all using the same data. There isn't some like super secret data provider out there that, unless you're going and manually pulling things from the courthouse, any data aggregator is probably getting it from one of the same couple of places. And so that tells all that to tell you that, if there's someone that tells you they have some like special predictive data or a secret list, that person's trying to sell you something. It doesn't really exist. I've talked to so many different operators and we're all using the same stuff. Okay. So just don't focus so much on the data like source piece because it's honestly pointless and you're kind of still just throwing spaghetti at the wall like everybody else. What does matter more is how you filter your lists, right? And how you get in front of the most qualified sellers. And so focusing on this has been a big reason that we have been able to be a lot more competitive with our direct mail marketing versus other investors out there. Okay. And so most people, they waste thousands of dollars mailing the wrong people on their list because they don't filter them correctly. They basically just go and they just pull the bankruptcy list, the liens list, they stack them all together, and then they throw it out there and see what happens. Okay. So how should you filter them? Once all your lists are stacked, this is like the order. So this is the kind of stuff you want to take notes on, okay? This is how we go and we filter all of our lists to get the best shots at bat. Anything that is more than 40% above the average price point in your market. There can be deals that come from like the higher price point stuff. They're just less likely to exist, okay? And so you can typically go like, let's say average price point is 200,000. If you go to about 280,000, everything above that, you can just get rid of those, right? You're going to be getting rid of a lot. That's kind of the point. Okay. We want to get to the people that are most likely to need to sell to you. Properties owned in LLCs, trusts, or incorporations. Okay. Anything that is, that's showing that the owner kind of has their shit together a little bit more. And you don't typically we want people that are going to be less organized. That's going to be the best source of our deals. Okay. Small homes or small lots. This is a big thing that people tend to get caught up on. Mixed in with all of your data, you'll find these really weird niche properties that are like sheds, on a lot. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen deals like that before, houses that come through. Again, you can make money on those. They are just going to be harder to sell, harder to monetize. They're going to have weirder situations. And you can typically filter this, especially if you use something like PropStream, by just going by the property size and just removing all the ones that are, super, super small. Properties that have PO boxes as mailing addresses. You want to be able to mail to people directly. If you're going to a PO box, that's an extra step that they are going to have to go through in order to be receiving that mail. Maybe they check their PO box once a month. Maybe they don't check it at all. I know people that do that, and they basically have a PO box for their businesses, and they just tell the people to throw it in the trash. Okay, and so you can remove those people if you want the best chances. And then any property that's been bought in the last 4 years. Obviously, if it has been bought since the interest rates were super, super low, those people are going to be significantly less likely to sell you at a discount right now. And so just note, there will absolutely be deals in all those leads that you're cutting out, okay? And that's okay. But, marketing is about odds, and you should be marketing to people that have the best odds of being a deal. So you have to be willing to understand that you're going to be potentially missing on opportunities to be setting yourself to have the most opportunities. Okay. So let's talk about the actual mail pieces and the mail sequence that we run. And I'm going to go through literally the sequence that we run every single quarter here. So you can literally just rip us off and copy us if you want to. So the most important thing to know, not everyone's going to respond to the same type of mail or the same message. It's marketing, right? Different things will vibe differently with different people. Just like, you'll see an ad from a company, and sometimes the video vibes with you. Sometimes it's their still ads. Sometimes it's the long videos. Sometimes it's short videos. Everyone's different. It's exactly the same with direct mail, right? And the most common mistakes with the mail sequences, they don't mail consistently, or they change their areas too often. People fail to build like a brand story around it. They kind of just like do stuff and hope something happens. They send mail that looks cheap or like a scam. Like I still to this day, I get a lot of these, like, you're going into foreclosure fake letters. Just don't do that. Like, it doesn't work. If you do get people that call you on that, it's, a little bit unethical, right? You don't need to be sending pieces like that anymore. They use the same thing every single month. This is really common with newbies when they find something that works, is they just want to like beat the thing to death until, it suddenly stops working for some reason. But people do get desensitized to stuff. They don't have a clear call to action. You don't say call or text, which is a really big piece that will help a lot with your conversion, because everyone likes to communicate in different ways. And then they don't have a way, they don't provide a way for sellers to provide due diligence. They don't include a website. They don't include things about their company. There's been like this sort of, culture for real estate and for investors for a while, where they try to like hide behind a veil and pretend like they're like a faceless company or something. You're going to get more deals if you don't do that, and you actually make it possible for people to research you, right? And so it's a lot to remember, but to make things easy for you, here's the exact 3-month cycle that we run for our deals. Okay, we've been doing this for years. We still get, we get deals, multiple deals every single week doing exactly this. And so for this to work for you, you have to mail every single month. If you like go and do month 1 of this and then you stop, you're just flushing money down the toilet for that direct mail company, right? And so I'll side note too, our current favorite mail house is Open Letter Marketing. If you decide to go and place an order for any of these pieces, if you use our code KEYS5, I will get a little kickback. Full disclosure, I do appreciate that. You'll also save 5%, which can save you a ton of money as you get going into it, right? So month 1, we always start with a hook. We send a piece that looks just like this, okay? They're these ROS offer cards from Open Letter. And the reason that I like these is they have this little offer that's on this, on the card, which basically creates a conversation. I like these better than the check mailers that are really popular right now, because like the check, like people know that that's BS, right? This is more just like, hey, here's kind of what we're doing. You can choose to believe it or not. I also like these as a postcard versus like a letter, because when people get it, they, have the chance to look at it. They can really quickly be like, oh, what's this? This looks like junk mail. And then they flip it over, and then this number catches their eye. This has been the #1 source of deals for us over the last 3 years, this card right here. Okay. We very intentionally put our logo on it so that people can research us. And then we always make sure too that with a return address, we like to do what looks like a street address versus a PO box. So here this is a UPS store at 1818 West Francis Ave is our UPS box here. So that's a real address. So don't be going and sending us junk stuff now. So here's what we do month 1 of every quarter. Month 2, we try to make things a little bit more personal. So we send lettered cards, and we very intentionally, we send white letters, white envelopes, okay, with plain letters on the inside. These are the printed ones that look handwritten. These are not like the super expensive ones that are like written with a pen, which are always in that kind of janky cursive. We've split test those. We didn't find it to make a big difference for the cost. And so we do a very very plain white letter, and then we put the name of one of our contacts inside of our company in there, right? And so that way when they receive the letter, it looks like they're getting a white envelope from a friend, not necessarily from a company. And then when they call in, they know who they're going to be potentially talking to. Okay. And so the copy that we generally use is pretty open-ended. This is literal copy that we have sent recently that we get to get some deals from. It says, my name is blank. I work for a real estate company looking to buy properties in the Slayton area. We were doing some deals down in Lubbock, Texas. I'm curious if you're interested in selling. I'm happy to buy as is without needing to get a realtor involved so we can save closing costs. Please call or text, very important, at this number so we can discuss that. And then down at the bottom is their opportunity to do due diligence. They can go to our company, which is Backyard Home Buyers. Okay. Super simple. I don't try to like list out all the benefits. I just try to make it very basic, to the point. It lists a basic highlight. And then what we'll do is when we send these every few months, these letters, we will basically change around what like the offer is. Sometimes we'll say we're happy to buy as is without a realtor. Sometimes we'll say we're happy to buy with a tenant. Sometimes we'll say we offer flexible closing timelines. You know, all the little buzzwords that you hear, we just kind of rotate through those, and different people respond to different stuff depending on their situation. Okay. Month 3, we get professional. Okay. So we send these templated postcards, which look very similar to like a, what a realtor would send. And we only started doing these about a year ago, like redoing these again. We were shocked at how well they did. And I think that one of the reasons these have done really well for us over the past, I guess just over a year, we started doing them last summer, is that there is this sort of ragtag nature that a lot of investors have, which works with some people, where you're like a family business, you're like a guy that buys houses, whatever. There's a desire for people to work with professionals right now, right? Especially like professional local businesses. And so when people, they're not going to respond to the offer, they're not going to respond to like the letter from a friend. Now all of a sudden they get something from an actual company that outlines why that they should consider working with them, and gives them plenty of time to do due diligence, plenty of options. It's like done really, really well for us. And so we have 2 basic designs that we do that we basically send at months 3 and month 6, and we just alternate those. We don't change anything else about them. So the only one that we really change on like a regular basis, in terms of like the actual meat of the piece, is that lettered envelope where we just change around the call to action, the value adds. So, it's a this basic design. We just rip this off Canva. Honestly, you can probably go and find like the exact same thing. Obviously make it your own style, make it your own colors, but these have done really, really well for us over the past couple months. Past a year and a half. So I recommend you do it. So that's our month 3. And then we repeat to the same people indefinitely. Okay. So once people are on our list, they never get off unless they ask us to be taken off. And we just continue to market to people month after month after month after month after month after month. And people call from that same list all the time. I think we have had people, I think the record is probably over 40 times we mailed somebody so far before they called us. And it's because it goes back to that whole principle where they're all targeted, right? And so if somebody was on the bankruptcy list 4 years ago, statistically, they're probably going to have problems again sometime in the future. So why would we not stop mailing them? The only times we remove people are, I guess, if they ask to be removed, or about once a quarter, we'll go through and we'll find all the homes that have sold and transacted, and we'll remove all those from our list as well. Okay. And so on months 2 and 3, we slightly change the copy and design to keep things a little fresh, but the fundamentals are always kind of the same. And that one. And our average results with the scrub list, this is our typical KPIs that we're seeing right now. So our cost per lead, about $167,000. This is nationwide as well. Cost per deal, about $4,200. Our average profitability is at $19,300. Our return on ad spend right now is about 4.59x on that mail. Okay. Some markets are better than others. We definitely have some markets that have dragged this down. We have other markets that are really high. In my home market of Spokane, I actually just ran this. We have a really killer sales process right now here, and our return is closer to 8x. But either way, for every dollar we put in nationwide with our direct mail, we get about $4.60 back out. So it's a pretty effective marketing scheme for us. So we've copied this right now in 24 different markets. Over the past couple of years, we have run a national business. And we've successfully done deals in 24 different markets, including super competitive places like Austin, Orlando, Seattle, Boston, Denver, San Diego, and Nashville. So it's not just like these little ho-dunk markets. This can work literally anywhere. And a lot of it just comes down to the consistency and being intentional about how you're running it, how you're building your brand around it. Okay. And so the most important things that you stay consistent, focus on having great conversations with your sellers, and you be willing to work for longer than you probably want to on a lot of these deals. That's another thing too, is when these come in, people always expect them to convert relatively quickly because they're inbound leads. It's not uncommon for us to be talking to sellers for 30 plus days, before they sign around. Our longest is 2.5 years from when they entered the system to when we got it signed around. And that's where the sales process and everything is really, really important. Okay. And so, once leads are coming in, the most important things are to stay consistent with your marketing. So don't stop marketing just because you're getting a bunch of leads. Work your leads religiously once they come in. Don't let older leads falter just to focus on new leads, right? Focus on solving the seller's problems and not the house itself, especially when you're doing this outbound targeted marketing. Most people are going to be coming into the system, into your system with some kind of baggage. Your job is to figure out what that is and how selling the home can solve that problem for them. Okay. Make your most competitive offers that actually make sense. And then be prepared to work for longer and harder than you want to is the big thing. Okay. And so take this information. You can go start running your own mail campaigns. Do whatever you want. You can just go and rip all that off. That's totally fine. But if you want to optimize your sales, marketing disposition, learn how to do virtual assistants, get better at hiring, building, branding, and do all that, here's your little pitch for you for coming to this. We do have our off-market investor academy, which we have just launched. collectingkeys.com/academy. You get a lifetime membership. It'll save you $100 for coming to this webinar. If you use that link, collectingkeys.com/academy, you can also use the code MAIL if it doesn't show for you. It's $197 for lifetime membership there. And with that, you'll get a full playbook of everything that we have built out over the years. Includes all of our scripts, contracts, calculators, tools for the entire business. We have a Facebook group where you can connect with myself and other Academy members. And then twice per month, open office hours and coaching calls. Okay. So free access to all future updates and materials. So collectingkeys.com/academy, $197. You'll get full access to that. Okay. For life. And then bonus there, free access to our subject to and creative financing modules, virtual investing systems to do stuff nationwide, and then our seller financing strategies module that's in there as well. So when you find those really prime seller financing opportunities, you actually know how to calculate them in a way that makes sense. So as you're interested in that, collectingkeys.com/academy. For coming to this, you'll save $100 for the next 72 hours. So just $197 to $297. Okay. Perfect. Sweet. Any questions on that? Perfect. And we got one from Steve. How do you calculate the offer for the first mail piece? So on Open Letter, they have a little gauge that has a percentage. We typically do we'll play around with it depending on the market. In more expensive markets, we'll kind of be on the high end. So it'll be 80, 75%. On the low end, we will do if they're cheaper markets, we'll do 70% of ARV, and that's all done through Open Letter. So they have a little option, but you got to pick that. So it's pretty simple. Cost per mail piece with Open Letter. I'm not sure what their general public price is. We have specialty pricing with them because we do a lot. On average, we're spending $90,000 a month on mail, so we get bulk discounts. We currently pay about 40 cents a postcard, and I think the letters are 80 something cents. I'm not sure what their list price would be. For Scale Community members, we get discounts for people in there, which I think are 48 cents per, and then the letters are awesome. I appreciate that, Steve. You're the man. And the letters are 90 cents, 92 cents, I think. If you look on their website, if you start to do a lot, Matt, don't be afraid to reach out to Open Letter, and they'll be willing to work with you on price. If you're starting to do tens of thousands a month as you grow, if you're still doing smaller budget stuff, you're going to be kind of bound to what's on there. But it's worth giving a look though. We've used them for years. They've been really good. We've tried other mail houses. We've done Ballpoint. We've done Yellow Letter. There was one that was called Ink Marketing for a while, and we've just found that Open Letter Marketing, not only are they good priced, but they also have really good customer service. And the thing that I like about them is I can place an order on Monday and it goes out on Friday, right? And so even if they are a little bit more expensive than others, that's speed to mailing is super, super awesome. So that's been really valuable for us. And Aaron, where you get your bankruptcy data, specifically Chapter 11 and 13. So Aaron, we just pull our bankruptcy stuff. So like our data that we actually pull, we pull off of PropStream, we pull off of Deal Machine. We basically just combine the lists, and then we remove all the duplicates. Very simple. We use the bankruptcy filters liens. We don't specifically target Chapter 11 and 13 or anything like that. It's a numbers game. We just throw out big numbers, and stuff comes back for us, and it works out well. So cool. And Steve signed up. Really appreciate you, Steve. I'll be chatting with you soon on a call, I'm sure. Paul, list management. Are you adding data to the list monthly or waiting for new 3-month cycle? That's a great question. I probably should add that in here for future. So the niche lists, like the high motivated lists, bankruptcies, liens, divorces, things like that, we'll update monthly. When it comes to like the macro lists, absentee owners, seniors with equity, super high equity stuff, we'll do those quarterly. And then we'll scrub every single month. I guess not every single. I guess every. Do we do? I think we do every quarter now. We do the sold homes about every quarter, since a lot of the places that we're in, it takes a little bit for recorded homes to actually show up on the list scrubbers. So yeah. So you don't need to like do overkill. We're doing it like, I've heard people doing it like bi-monthly, things like that. But when it becomes to like the niche list, doing monthly is great. Just understand too, there isn't going to be like a huge change. Like it's pretty common for, if you're going and pulling new bankruptcies in a market monthly, there'll be maybe like 6 new people, right? Yeah, that's our typical cadence. And then that scrubbing piece that I did at the beginning, we do that every single time that we send out or that we pull a new list and we scrub it down. So we never away from that. Cool. It makes sense, Paul? Yep. Sweet. Cool. Anything else for you guys? What are you using for list management? So our current CRM is RE Simply. They have a list stacker in there, and we use that. It works great. And essentially how we structure it in there is all of the lists themselves you can categorize in there pretty simply. And why don't I use their direct mail? It's the direct mail ordering process I don't like, and they don't have the products that I want that OpenLetter has. And so we started using OpenLetter years ago before RE Simply offered that. And OpenLetters continue to work for us. It's one of those things, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And it is more expensive too, because they have like a markup on it versus what we get with OpenLetter. But yeah, so we use their list stacker in RE Simply. It works well. We basically just track all the lists in there separately, and then we will basically add tags by market so we can keep all of our markets straight. It works out pretty well. And the thing that I like about using RE Simply for it too, since it's also our CRM, is when we do have leads that come in, or we do have people that want to be removed from lists, things like that, it's super easy for us to just like filter the list with the active leads, as opposed to trying to like balance it with like a third party list stacker. Like there was one that was really popular for a while. I don't hear about it a lot anymore. I'm not sure. But yeah, it integrates super easily, and so it makes stuff simply. And then, yeah, we just don't use a direct mail because it's more expensive, doesn't have all the products, and what we do at OpenLetter works for us. So, cool. Any other questions? No? Awesome. All right, everyone. Well, appreciate you all showing up. I really appreciate it. Again, if you want to be a part of the Academy, I'd love to work more directly with a lot of you guys. collectingkeys.com/academy. It will save you $100 for the next 72 hours. So that'll basically be through the weekend. And then after that, it goes back up to $297. Yeah, hopefully see some of you guys in there. Appreciate you all coming. So thanks, everybody. And you guys all have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.